It's the 3 on PLAXtv.
Yeah. What's good, y'all? It's your boy PLAX, and I am back with another episode of The 3 on PLAXtv. And in this episode, I will be talking about Tyrese Haliburton versus De'Aaron Fox. Now, since last season and this season, maybe even the season before that, I believe, Tyrese Haliburton has been playing amazing basketball, extremely efficient, getting a lot of assists, making his shots, getting his teammates involved, being a real leader over for the Indiana Pacers. This has caused some people to say that the Sacramento Kings made a mistake and traded the wrong point guard. Let's talk about that, right? Now, I see why people might think that, right? Because this year specifically, Tyrese is better than Fox in every statistical category besides points. Fox is averaging 30.5 points per game, which is amazing, by the way. And Tyrese is averaging 24.7 points per game, which is also amazing. Fox is averaging 3.8 rebounds per game versus Tyrese's 4.2 rebounds per game. They're relatively close there, about 4 for each of them. Assists is where it really takes a huge jump because Fox is averaging 6 assists per game and Tyrese Haliburton is averaging 12.5 assists per game. And I can see where the issue is there because they're both point guards. And you could kind of argue they might have kind of similar teammates as far as play styles go. But you can argue Fox has the better teammates on a regular basis when you talk about Monk and Keegan Murray and Domantas Sabonis and all those guys. Fox has the better teammates, so you would think his assists would at least be closer. 6 assists isn't terrible by any stretch of the imagination. It's just when you comparing it to Tyrese Haliburton, it's like, you have better teammates, bro. So why is he killing you on the assists? He's doubling you, doubling you on the assists. And as far as percentages go, De'Aaron Fox is shooting 50% from the field, which is great. But Tyrese Haliburton is shooting 52.8% from the field. So basically 53% from the field. Fox is shooting 36.7% from 3, which isn't bad at all. It's basically 37%. But Tyrese is shooting 43.6% from 3. So in every other statistical category, Tyrese Haliburton is playing better than De'Aaron Fox in that sense. So I get why people are hopping on the bandwagon of, oh, the Kings made a mistake. They traded the wrong point guard, blah, blah, blah. I would agree with all those people that are saying that if Sacramento was still dog shit and wasn't in contention to make the playoffs and still a lottery team and all those things. But because Sacramento has, you could say, overachieved lately, especially last year, they made the playoffs for the first time in almost 20 years probably. And then this year they started the season off very well. They're winning games. I'm pretty sure they're going to make the playoffs again. I'd be surprised if they didn't. Fox has led that team to relevancy. He's been their best player and their leader throughout this entire journey. Now, some could argue Sabonis is the best player. I can see where you get that from. I'm not saying you're wrong, but in my eyes, De'Aaron Fox is the best player on that team, and he's the leader on top of that. Everything is kind of in a sense, not the same level, but it's kind of like how Steph Curry is the Golden State Warriors and everybody else is just built around him. I feel the same way about Fox, like Monk and Harrison Barnes and Keegan and Sabonis. All those guys were put in position around De'Aaron Fox. The Sacramento Kings, the goal was building around De'Aaron Fox, and so far it's been working because they went from a lottery team with no hope and nobody expected anything from them to becoming a consistent playoff team, because we expect them to make the playoffs again this year. You can attribute that to Mike Brown's coaching as well, but throughout this entire journey, De'Aaron Fox has been their leader and their best player. If they were still a lottery team and not accomplishing anything, I would agree with you guys, but I can't disrespect De'Aaron Fox like that and say that they made a mistake. I feel like you can't go wrong with either of those guys. I feel like if you replace De'Aaron Fox with Tyrese Haliburton, I think they still have the same or similar success as far as making the playoffs with, as long as the rest of the team is the same and Mike Brown is the coach, I think they will have the same amount of success. But if that's the case, then you can't necessarily say they made a mistake. I do feel like Sacramento made a mistake, but it's a little different. I think the mistake was trading Haliburton at all, right? I understand why they did it. They had De'Aaron Fox. Haliburton was emerging as a solid to really good player in Sacramento. And they were like, okay, we only have one ball. We already rolling with Fox. This guy is a rookie or a second year. Let's move him because Fox is our guy. And I get the mindset on that. But what they should have done is just kept Tyrese, because Fox, as great as he is at the point guard, he's more of a scorer, right? As we can see from the statistics that I read previously. Tyrese, on the other hand, is very much a pass-first point guard. He gets his teammates involved first, and then he gets his. And then, around the fourth quarter, he turns it up a bit because he's the best player on the Pacers. But throughout the game, he's getting his teammates involved, as we see from the statistics. I would say that they should have kept Tyrese Haliburton, moved him to the point guard, moved De'Aaron Fox to the shooting guard, had this dynamic duo. That way, Fox doesn't really have to worry about facilitating, because that's what Haliburton is doing. The ball doesn't have to be in Fox's hands as much. And we know he can play off the ball because he plays with Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter, and it works out perfectly. Yes, does Fox have the ball in his hand majority of the time, but he can also play off the ball very well, and he's proven that. So I feel like it would only be better if he can do that and accomplish what he's accomplished with Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter. Then you can only imagine what he could do with Tyrese Haliburton, right? But again, hindsight is always 20/20, right? I don't think Sacramento expected Haliburton to turn into what he's turned into. But with that foresight, that's what they should have done. And then they could have ran Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter off the bench, which would have been even more scary. Because now you have a starting five of Tyrese Haliburton, De'Aaron Fox, Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, and Sabonis, with Malik Monk, Kevin Huerter, Davion Mitchell. I don't know who they. I believe they have JaVale McGee and all those guys coming off the bench. That's an extremely good team. Sacramento's already pretty good. That would just be scary. And you could argue that's probably a championship level team just by throwing Tyrese Haliburton into the mix, because now that's another all-star level guy. No disrespect to Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter. Those guys have been playing great, but they're not Tyrese Haliburton. Right? So that changes the whole dynamic of light the beam and all this stuff. Instead of just, making the playoffs and, making it to the first or second round, that team turns into a legit contender. But again, hindsight is always 20/20. So we missed out on potentially one of the greatest backcourt duos in NBA history with Tyrese Haliburton and De'Aaron Fox. As far as comparing them, just to round the video off, I honestly don't think you can go wrong with either of those guys. So to say Sacramento made a mistake or traded the wrong point guard is very disrespectful to De'Aaron Fox and the success he's had. I understand Tyrese Haliburton is being elite, but you can't go wrong with either of them. It honestly depends on what you have too. I feel like if you have a lot of scorers on your team and you need somebody that's really going to lock in on facilitating and getting those guys the best shots possible, then yeah, Tyrese is perfect for you, right? But, you know, if you don't have a lot of scorers on your team, or if you have guys that, you know, maybe are better off standing in the corner or standing at the wing waiting for the ball, De'Aaron Fox is the perfect example of a score first point guard. And he's a very good facilitator. He's not terrible. Like, I've seen him get Sacramento going. I mean, that's a huge part of their success is his facilitating. But because he scored first, it's a difference from what Tyrese does, basically. But the bottom line of this video is I feel like you can't go wrong with either of them. It depends on what you have. Please stop disrespecting De'Aaron Fox. He's one of the best point guards in the league. He's brought Sacramento to relevancy. Show him some love. If anything, make fun of Sacramento for being stupid and getting rid of Tyrese Haliburton and robbing us as fans for one of the greatest potential backcourt duos in NBA history. But this has been the video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know in the comments down below. Am I tripping? Is Tyrese just miles and miles better than De'Aaron Fox? Do you think De'Aaron Fox is miles and miles better than Tyrese? Do you think they're relatively similar as far as like not going wrong with either of them? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, make sure you ding that notification bell so you know every time I drop a video. And most of all, YouTube, I love you guys. Peace out.
It's the 3 on PLAXtv.